Hey folks, thanks for coming back to the Play School. Today's track is by a little band you might have heard of called the Beatles. It is Hey Jude. It's a great track, it's really popular, and it's got an absolutely killer outro. So make sure you stick around to the end, when not only are we going to cover that, but also a couple of other things to make it sound really awesome. So let's go. Okay, so Hey Jude is in the key of F. Let's just quickly find those notes. It's going to be an F, all of the white notes, but we're going to need that B flat. As ever, that B flat replaces the B in our scale, and that gives us broadly our palette of notes for this track. We are going to use E flat at one point, but apart from that, that's what we use. Okay, so skipper section. No intro in this track, okay? We're going to go straight into the verse. And our verse is going to start on an F chord. So let's take our F, skip G, play A, skip B flat, play C. F chord, root position with the F at the bottom. We're actually going to invert that, which means take the bottom note and put it on the top. And that gives us a nice F to start with. As ever, we're going to put that F with an F in our left hand, our bass line, okay? And that is our first chord. Now, our second chord is going to be a C. Now let's take this. Let's find our C chord first. C, skip D, play E, skip F, play G, staying within the key signature. And we're going to kind of invert it, put the G at the bottom, which gives us C here. What I really want you to notice is this move that we've done between F to C. Notice how your middle finger has stayed in the middle and we've just rotated around it. I call that a pivot move. And it's really common. Great to get your head round. Okay. Now, chord number 3, it's going to be a C7 chord. If you've watched any of my videos before, you might remember that a really easy way to find a 7 chord is to take your root note, that is whatever note the chord is named after, and move it. So we need our C. In this instance, that C is in the middle. Depending on which inversion you are using, that C could be at the top, could be at the bottom, could be in the middle. Just got to find it, and we're going to move it to the left by 2 half steps, closest 2 notes. Okay, and that could be a white note to a black note, like it is in this instance. It could be black to black, white to white, white to black, could be anything. Just count 2. 1, 1, 2. Okay, so that gives us C7. Now, when we are playing C at the bottom here, we don't need to play it here. We can, but we don't have to. That is completely up to you. See what sounds best. And then after that, what we will do is revert back to our F. I would say think about that as like that reverse pivot. Yeah, we've got the B flat making things slightly more complicated at this point, but really, it's back to where we started. So let's try those 4 chords. Hey. That's the first 4 chords. We're going to come back to that C7 chord a lot, so take a mental picture. Our next chord is going to be B flat. B flat in root position is B flat. Skip C, play D. Skip D, E, play F. Now, well, that's fun because we've already got here. We're here, right? And so all we're going to do is contract our hand to there. You can pick it up with your thumb, or probably more simply with your first finger. Still want you to think of it as that move of making the chord ever so slightly shorter. And then back to F. So that's a simple move. There. And then second to last chord, C7. Either with or without the C. And then back to F. So hold. Okay, so the other big section that we need to know here is our kind of bridge section. Now, so we are finished to make it better. And this is kind of a fun move. So if you remember how we found C7, we went and we just counted in our head to find that B flat. Now, with our F at the top, we're actually going to play that. Yeah, that count down to 7 is actually the melody that McCartney uses to get us through here. Yeah, and that'll land us on an F7 chord with no F in it, right? Apart from in the bass line here. Okay, now that's our little kind of interlude section between the verse and the chorus. Our chorus has a really fun chord sequence. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take you through the chords, and then I want to explain a couple of things that are going to make this really easy to commit to memory without necessarily doing that chord math every time. So first chord is B flat. Okay, so we were here. And then come back to B flat, just where we had it before. Now our second chord of the chorus is D minor. That would ordinarily live here. D, F, or in root position would live there. We can just take that A, put it on the bottom, which gives us a lovely change from B flat to D minor. Yeah. Now the next chord after that is a G minor 7. For which we are going to need G, B flat and D. Now another way to manipulate this 7. There's our G7, but we're going to put the F on the top, and that means that that's our G minor 7 in root position, because it's still a G chord and the G is still at the bottom. Okay, so that's G minor 7. After that we'll have another B flat, and then we'll have a C7 and resolving to F, back in our favourite position. So we'll go through these again. We've got B flat, D minor, G minor 7, for which we can just play that B flat chord and add a G, and then B flat again, C7, and then to F. Now, you may have noticed that our left hand was not mimicking or not using the root note of the chord. That would have sounded like doesn't sound unlike Hey Jude, but it's not exactly right. That's because Hey Jude has a very common technique in popular music, this descending bass line. Two things are great about the descending bass line. One, it sounds great. Two, makes it really easy to remember. Yeah. So all we are going to do for this bit is walk down the F major scale that we talked about earlier on, and back up to F. Okay. Now that's going to give us some like slash chords, which is how we describe a chord that is one chord without the root note at the bottom. So for instance, we take a B flat and put an F underneath, B flat slash F. So those will all be written out in your sheet music, but really if we just remember this walking down, we can't go far wrong. And here's how this helps the right hand. We're going to start here. Now to make our D minor chord, we're just kind of copying this an octave higher. Yeah. And then, again, this thumb is going to copy your left hand, and we're going to put the B flat back in. Yeah. And then we just take away the G. And that gets us through those kind of weird little chords. And then the last one is a C7 with this hand. We've got our E here, which takes us back to F. When we've done that, we'll do it all again. here we need to go that's your F7 chord from earlier, and a C7 chord again. There's that C7. We're back into the verse. Okay, so the structure is really simple for this piece. We have the verse section. Let's call that 2 verses. And then we have our chorus that we were just talking about. Then we do another verse. Then we do another chorus. Then we do another verse. And that leads us straight into this epic outro, which everybody knows and loves. So let's talk about that. Okay, the ending. So we've finished here. Then you can start to make it better. And we have this section. Still all the way up through that. Now for our finale, we're going to have 3 chords, and they're going to go round and round and round. They are going to be F, which we've met, E flat, which we have not, and B flat, which we have. And in order to make this as easy as possible to play, we're going to take F in root position. There, F, A, C. Yeah? Now E flat, this is where we slightly depart from our F major key signature. It's here, E flat, G, and B flat. Okay, there's E flat chord. Now for our purposes here, take the E flat from the bottom, put it on the top. There's that inversion move again, so it gives us yeah. Reason we're going to do that is because sometimes just jumping between chords and root position can be a bit clunky, but really what this does for us, it puts us in a really nice position to remember that rotating pivot move to get back to our B flat. B flat, D, and instead of F up here, F down there. Yeah? So that's our B flat. And then it's a 4 chord sequence that begins and ends on the same chord. So we're just going to then contract move. Yeah? Keep our thumb on the F. And that gives you your 4 chords. Rhythm, by the way, taking pretty much all the way through the piece, played a different kind of velocity. And that's Hey Jude. Here comes the fun. Okay, so when we dealt with the chorus section earlier on, a lot of you who know the song really well might have thought, hang on, there's a bit missing here, and you would be right. So what we're going to do here is investigate a different way of getting from a chord to its 7 counterpart. And that is like this. Let's take F. F, A, C, and then F7, F, A, C, D flat, just an addition at the top. So a fun way to get between notes, which crops up from time to time, is we go F, and we work up the scale. We take these 2 up. Technically speaking, we're going via a B flat chord, and then we just keep expanding to there, and then when we get to that one, we put the A back in. Right, so just watch that shape. F, 2 notes go up, and then we hit the 4. Yeah. And if you hear that in situ, after that, I've got that little piano bit, and guess what? It's exactly the same move, but in C. Okay. If you want to be really fun, just that little fall off. Okay. Best advice I can give you there: go for the C chord and try and kind of on purpose miss slightly. Yeah. So let's put those into practice. start. So try and slide those in. The second bit of advice I have for you at the end. I talk quite a lot about doubling this left hand. If I've not before to you, that's pretty easy. It does exactly what it says on the tin. If you're playing an F with your left hand, take your thumb and your pinky and play those octaves. It gives a really chunky sound. You want to get it more advanced, you can kind of start to play around with a rhythm. As long as you keep those fingers an octave apart, which for most people is like fairly comfortable hand width, you're always going to be on the right note, and you don't really need to kind of read both of them. You can just keep your eye on your thumb and you know your pinky's right there. It's a really useful thing to get used to. However, in this instance, as we've got, I don't know, about half an hour of this outro to get through, I want to give you another option to make the right hand a little more full. And this is to make every single chord you play with your right hand into a 4-note chord. Okay. Now, assuming we've only got 3 notes in the chord currently, like we do with most chords, all we're going to do, whatever notes you have your thumb on, I want you to play it with your pinky. Kind of the same thing. But like in this instance, yeah, I've got 2 Fs. If you see, when I move to the E flat in this position, I don't need to double the E flat. Same here with the B flat, F. Take that away, have some fun. Any questions, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next video.